Good morning. Have you heard the good news? Because I love it when, someone makes a positive out of a pandemic. And boy, the far left is doing that. Just as I was telling you about in previous shows, the Democrats and the far left, like AOC, what is it, Alicia Acosta or Costa Cortez, they're having a blast with this. They're enjoying the pandemic. They reported some really good news today. For the first time, in India, where the entire population is on house arrest, they are locked in their homes. They can see blue skies for the first time. They can see the Himalayas from their houses. Isn't that wonderful? Air pollution is down all over America. Animals that some people actually pay tens of thousands of dollars to hunt for pleasure and put their heads on their walls as trophies are living beautiful lives. The animals are having a blast because their environment is no longer being threatened by us pesky American citizens who go to work every day to feed our families. Hmm. And never to let a good crisis go to waste. The left is really pouncing on this one. Well, maybe, like Cuomo said in New York the other day, we're not going to go back to the way it was in the old days when Americans were free, where we could go to work and earn livings to support our family, where we could go to the grocery store and have a big supply of chicken and beef and pork, which is now, unfortunately, a shortage. Maybe we won't reopen all those factories that pollute our air and allow Americans to go to the grocery store and provide food for their families. Maybe we're going to limit the amount of meat each family can buy. Maybe we need to, as Cuomo said, reimagine a new America, a better America. Well, you know what, folks? Some people like me and a lot of other people, like 22 million unemployed Americans, we don't want our America from back in January and February. We don't want to reimagine that. We want it back the way it was, 150%. Yes, we have to take this virus seriously, but once again, the numbers are being inflated. In my state in Pennsylvania, as the numbers started to go down, and we had a protest on Monday in Harrisburg, people demanding that our government reopen, people demanding that they can get more than 6 bottles of alcohol at one liquor store in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, the only liquor store doing curbside delivery, but you gotta call early and they only do a certain amount. Governor Wolf is controlling the amount of alcohol Pennsylvanians can purchase. And he's always wanted to do that. Pennsylvania is a huge anti-drinking state. They don't like alcohol in Pennsylvania. Governor Wolf would love it if nobody drank. And now he's got the opportunity to do it. And he's doing it very effectively, by the way. Because unlike before, we can't just go into Maryland, where all the liquor stores are privately owned and we can just go buy whatever we want. We're not allowed to do that right now because he's restricted travel. We can be arrested for driving the 45 minutes it takes from our house to go into Maryland and buy alcohol. So now he is in control of how much Pennsylvania citizens drink. Like I told you before, my husband, before the shutdown, went and stocked up on alcohol. So we're good for now. But they just seem to refuse to want to stop the shutdown. First, it was 15 days to stop the spread. Then it was 30 days. And a lot of us were willing to do that. But now it's like, well, okay, let me tell you what happened in Pennsylvania. On Monday, we had the lowest number of new cases ever. Kept going down. Under 1,000 new cases. Deaths went down. And then we had a protest on Monday. People protested. It's time to reopen, Governor Wolf. It's time to get Rachel Levine, this doctor from the Department of Health, get her off the damn stage, get her off CNN, stop her from making choices for Pennsylvania citizens. So what happened yesterday? This was on Tuesday. All of a sudden, they decided that they're going to go backwards. They are now including COVID-19 deaths that were never confirmed COVID-19. They were never tested for COVID-19. Now, look, I took science in school. And I also know that no doctor will give you chemo unless he is positive you have cancer, because the chemo would kill you, and you don't need it. No doctor is going to perform surgery on you if he doesn't verify and verify again that you actually need the surgery. And yet, for some reason now, it appears that in Pennsylvania and New York as well, if you died in the past month in the hospital, whether it be from a heart attack, appendicitis, a car accident, you are now a COVID-19 case. That's what they're doing. Today, Wednesday, after 2 or 3 days of the constant dropping of our deaths and our cases, they jumped up. 315 new positive cases. But those 315 cases were probable cases. So they inflated those numbers. It was actually 1,200 cases. Now, but yesterday it was 900, which is good. That was down. It was below 1,000 for 2 days, 3 days in a row. But then Rachel Levine said, well, maybe we missed some deaths. We missed some cases. So today, our cases went up to over 1,200 new cases. But they did actually have at least the honesty to say 315 of those cases are probable. That means that people had a cough or a cold but never got tested, but they're going to count them anyway. Does that sound right to any of you? I mean, I get attacked all the time for being a spoiled brat. I just want to go buy alcohol again. I want to go to parties again. That's true. But the bottom line is we're getting misinformation. And there are Pennsylvania coroners in counties in Pennsylvania who are now questioning, because they've just been hearing on the news that one county said, well, I just heard we had 2 COVID-19 deaths in my county. I'm the coroner in this county. We have had no COVID-19 deaths in this county. The COVID-19 deaths from yesterday rose 300 deaths. And the 300 deaths are probable. That means you died during the COVID-19 epidemic, but you didn't necessarily die of COVID because they don't know if you had COVID because they never tested you for it. So if people like Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski and all the Democrats are saying, testing, 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 science, 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 well, my friends, science is an absolute. What do we think? What do we know? What can we prove? First of all, you don't base anything on what you think. And what you know today, you may find out was wrong and you really didn't know it tomorrow. It's what can you prove? And the only way you can prove anybody died of COVID-19 or anybody actually has COVID-19 is for them to test positive for it. But again, Governor Wolf and the new governor, the new person in charge of Pennsylvania residents, citizens, we used to be Americans, we're not anymore, Rachel Levine, has decided that, what does it matter if we actually know? They had a cough, they died, they had pneumonia, they had a heart attack. Now, they probably had COVID-19. We'll just put them in the numbers so that we can make these awful protesters that came out to Harrisburg and demanded that we get our lives back. The 98%, the people who, even if we get this virus, or maybe we even already had it and didn't know it because that's how mild the symptoms are, we don't want them going out and living their lives. We want to scare them into staying home. And it's working. It's working. There have been polls taken where like 70% people polled want essential work, non-essential workers and people who just want our lives back, they want to keep us locked in. They want us to stay locked in until there's a vaccine. We're talking 18 months, folks. Not going to a party, not hugging your kids, not hugging another person, not going to a barbecue, not even going back to your job. And that's okay with them. I'd like to ask, who are these people? Are these people who don't go out anyway? I mean, I know people who haven't been out of their house except for doctor appointments and hospital visits for 2 years. For someone like that to tell someone like me, who has no chronic illnesses, I'm not overweight, I don't have diabetes, I have no breathing issues, that I'm not allowed to leave my house because you think I need to stay in and you haven't left your house in 2 years, you don't need a paycheck because you're getting a check every month from Social Security or your pension or the government. Welfare moms, oh, they don't care. They love sitting home getting paid because they're used to it. Well, some of us aren't used to the government taking care of us. We want to take care of ourselves. Thank you very much. And we're willing to take the risk of getting a virus that at some point when they keep inflating these numbers, they're going to kick themselves in the ass, because what's going to happen is if you keep saying more people had the virus and didn't die from it, then your death rate is going to go down. It's going to go down to lower than the regular seasonal flu. And if the death rate goes below the seasonal flu, and you locked a lot of good, healthy, innocent people in their homes and cost 22 million jobs, well, you're going to have to pay for that at some point, and you're going to pay huge. There's going to be lawsuits about this. Keeping healthy people away from work, forcing them to take government handouts they don't want to support their families, shutting down factories so we have shortages of meat, because, of course, eating meat is bad for you. So they're going to love that. Rachel Burks already said, when we're done with this, we're going to make people live a healthier lifestyle. And I've always said, government does not legislate my health. Government doesn't tell me what to eat, what to drink, what to smoke, or what testing I need. Government does not get to do that. But the left wants to try. And as far as this climate change goes, we need to be very cautious right now, because all of a sudden, it's great news. The skies are blue. There's no smog in the air. There's no emissions from cars. Isn't it awesome? You can actually see the Himalayas. Well, how can you see or enjoy anything if you're not allowed to leave your house? If you're too worried about adjusting your mandatory mask to look at anything or enjoy anything. And do 22 million unemployed people really give a fuck if the air is cleaner or the animals are having a party when they can't? When they can't even feed their family, their children are starving, are going to bed hungry? When they have to depend on the nanny government, which of course is always the left's mantra. The left wants you dependent on the government. That's why they always increase welfare. They want illegal immigrants to now be getting stimulus packages because they are committing a crime being here, but since they happen to be committing their crime during a pandemic, the governor in California wants to give every illegal like $1,000 for breaking the law. Since when did Americans start paying criminals for committing a crime? I mean, really? Think about all of what I'm saying to you. I am miserable right now. And some of you, like Cuomo says, I don't have a right to be. My husband is working from home. We are getting a paycheck. And we have food in our refrigerator. But my calendar is empty. I can't hug my friends. I can't see my friends because my friends are afraid to come to my house, even though I'm perfectly willing to host them. And I can, by the way, still host. I can have a couple over to my house because it's 4 people. If it's under 10, you can do it. That's in the rules. I checked. But no one wants to come to my house. No one wants me in their house unless I wear a mask. Well, I'm not going to do that. So I have absolutely no plans. As I have said multiple times, we are paying for a trailer an hour and a half from us in Maryland that because of her interpretation of the law, we can't use. We could definitely social distance down at Buttonwood Beach, but we're not allowed to. She closed it. She even closed it to people who had no place else to live this summer, where their leases ran out before she closed down. And as they were driving from their winter houses to Buttonwood, well, she was shutting it down. When they got there, it was locked, and they had to scramble, and now they're paying rent somewhere else, and they're still being charged for their trailer at Buttonwood. They're not allowed to use. Some people were tossed out so sporadically they had already opened their trailers that they left food there. And their food is rotting in their refrigerators because they were told, get out. But that was supposed to be 2 weeks to slow the spread. Now it's turned into almost 6 weeks since Buttonwood closed. We own our trailers. We pay a lease. We pay rent on the land. But we're not able to enjoy the land or the trailer that we own. And yet, she and her staff sit there collecting our money. They're not working. They're not doing anything for us. Oh, except renovations. Which, by the way, in November, when they do the overage pro rata bill, they will charge us for, even though there's a really good chance that a lot of us who own a place at Buttonwood will never see it this season. But they're going to charge us for things they supposedly did while we were all on house arrest in our various states. That's not going to fly. You know that. You know me. No way that's going to happen. So look, while Nancy Pelosi sits in her house, becoming very quickly, by the way, she is going to become one of the 1% of vulnerable people because apparently all she's doing while Americans suffer is sitting in her mansion eating a hell of a lot of $13 a pint ice cream. She's got this $25,000 refrigerator, like 40 different pints of different flavors of this really expensive ice cream. She's eating a lot of chocolate. So Nancy Pelosi is now going to be the 1% who could actually die if she gets this virus. No wonder she doesn't want to come back to work in Washington and pass bills to reopen America. Because Americans don't want to be supported by Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. We want to go out and earn a living and feed our families. At least most of us do. And for those who are saying we don't want the 22 million to go back to work, to go outside, to stop wearing masks, well, those of you are probably people who don't go out much anyway and are not counting on a weekly paycheck to feed anybody. Maybe you're in a nursing home. Well, me going to a restaurant isn't going to harm you because I'm not planning on coming to visit you because I don't know you. I don't know anybody in a nursing home. So I'm not going to be running into nursing homes visiting vulnerable people after going out to a restaurant. If you're a cancer patient and I know you and I love you, well, God bless you. I know right now we can't see each other. Fine. That's easy. I can still talk to you. I can still call you. I can see you on Facebook. But for these people, some of whom don't even count on a paycheck, don't have jobs, to say they want to keep the rest of us locked in indefinitely or until there's a vaccine in 18 months, well, you know what? No one's going to force you to leave your house. No one is going to force you to interact with me. You want to stay locked in your house, which most of you have probably been doing for a lot longer than we have, then stay locked in. Don't go back to work. Take Nanny Nancy and Uncle Chuck's handouts. Do it. I'm not forcing anybody to come to my house. I'm not forcing anybody to have dinner with me in a restaurant. But I have the right as a healthy American citizen, unlawfully imprisoned in my home now for almost 40 days. I have a right to reclaim my life. And I have the right to decide the risk and benefit factor. My risks of getting the virus, which I know I've probably been exposed to and never got, or if I did, I didn't know it, and that's great because that just proves it doesn't kill everybody it infects, which means it's not deadly. Ebola is deadly. Okay? But we can't afford to wait anymore. We can't afford to wait for a vaccine or a treatment plan. And we can't celebrate the fact that the birds and the alligators and the deer and the antelope are having a really good time right now because the hardworking people of this world are unemployed, locked in their homes, unable to feed their families. See, humans come first. Humans are more important. Feeding our children is more important than blue skies we're not even allowed to go outside to look at. Political Paula, out.